Help! I've fallen and I can't get up. Actually, I haven't fallen. I'm down here in the sand on a Southern California beach, and I'm going to show you how to dig for sandworms and really improve your surf fishing game. Take it to another level. So the other day I was mentioning one of the morning briefings that I was doing one of my favorite things in life, looking for sandworms. And a gentleman came on the YouTube comment section and said, how exactly do you do it? So here's your answer. I'm happy to oblige. Good morning, my friends. Using bait that is right in front of your little fishy's eyes is so important. That's why I'm going to show you how to dig up sandworms in the Southern California surf. It will change your entire life. Some of the things you'll be needing: a shovel and also a container of your choosing with some sand in it. Of course, we'll be multitasking. I've got my fishing rod and reel ready to go. I'm going to toss that out with some grunion on it because there is a grunion run right now, and then I'm going to show you how to find sandworms. All right, first of all, the first question is, where do you dig for sandworms? And since I am unusually equipped to think just about as smart as a worm, I'm going to, hey, here it is. So sandworms feed on grunion eggs. Grunion come in on the high tide to lay their eggs. They don't go too deep, but they can get down about a foot, and sandworms will move up and down this sand column. So I'm going to start up pretty far up on the beach where the high tide would be. So you can see where the water is, and I'm way up here. I'm going to start digging around here. I'm going to look for holes in the sand. Now those holes, I'm not sure if the sandworms make those or the birds that are feeding on them do, but that's a good indicator as to where there might be some sandworms. So let me show you how I'm going to dig this, and then we'll move along and find out how you can catch sandworms. And I'm telling you, everything in the surf eats them. They are such an exceptional bait. All right, I made just a small hole here because I just want to kind of show you the technique first of all. Now, many times when you're shoveling around, you'll see a worm, and when you're an old guy like me, by the time you get down there, they're gone. So I dig a hole, okay? You see that? And then I just start to work the edge. Oh, there's a worm right there, my friends. I got him by the tail. See? I don't know if you can see that or not. Now you can kind of work these things out by pulling on them back and forth because they'll break. Or you can go, and try to dig them out. Sometimes they're, oh, you can see them snuck away from me there. All right, so now we're just going to work along here. And when you find one, normally you'll find even more. So you can see the technique, right? You're down here, you're just breaking down these edges, looking for a worm. They're fast, they're going to move, and you've got to get on them in a hurry. And then you need to have your container nearby. We'll talk about how you can keep these worms good for about 4 or 5 days. But this is the technique that I'm talking about. And you can see he wasn't very deep, not deep at all. So, oh, there's one, a nice one too. Oh, get away from me. See this? Oh man. All right. So we're going to cave this in a little bit more. There he is. All right. Man, he's a good one. He's getting back in there. But this is a good bait right here. All right, so you can see there's your sandworm. Now, you can see they're not real thick. So part of what you're gonna have to do is fish with a wire hook. You can go to Big Fish Bait and Tackle right down the corner here in Seal Beach, and they can tune you up on what you'll need. Sam over there at Island Fishing Tackle in Carson also, but there's your sandworm. Now, using this technique that I am showing you, throw them up there for a second, you just keep working these edges, okay? It actually turns into a whole thing like where you're gonna start liking this whole thing. It's pretty fun. Like sometimes I'm doing more of this than I'm fishing. But that's the idea, okay? And, oh, there's a nice one right there. You see that? He's making his way up toward the surface, trying to anyway. Little devil. So I go back and forth on these things. And just trying to get back in there. It's a nice one too. Okay, got him. All right, there's another one. So you get the idea now, right? I haven't dug down that deep because remember, these things are feeding on grunion eggs. So you definitely don't have to dig that. There's a nice one too. Darn it, where'd it go? They blend into this. Oh my God, that's a nice one. Look at that. They blend into the sand so well, it's ridiculous. Hence the name sandworms. And once again, they're feeding on grunion eggs. So let's take a look at where I am. And high tide is coming up here pretty soon. So I'm way up here on the beach. I found those holes that I showed you. Oh man, they're digging back down. I'm not letting them do that. I'm working too hard for these things. So anyway, that's the idea. All right, I'll be back with more in a sec. Sometimes digging a hole like this, instead of a round hole, just kind of working your way toward the beach, and you will see those little devils, but by the time you get down there, it's tough to grab a hold of them. So I like to dig the hole, then get down there and start working at it. So as I say, you can multitask while you're digging for worms. You can have another bait out there. I actually have a grunion piece on there right now. I'm soaking while I'm digging for worms. I found enough worms to put a worm on there, see what they want to bite. But multitasking is fun, but you got to pay attention because the other day I wasn't paying attention, and by the time I looked, my rod was getting dragged out to sea with a nice yellowfin croaker that I just grabbed at the very last moment. So let's review for a moment, okay? You come down to the beach, you look for those holes in the sand. That's where the birds are picking, or maybe the worms actually make those holes. They come up, pop up to see what's going on. Multitasking is okay. I've got my rod out there, but you got to pay attention in case you happen to hook something really, really big. Then you dig about a foot down. I've gone down as far as 4 feet and found them that deep, but usually about a foot down, make a canal, and then get down on all fours and start to work the sides. Just work the sides, and you'll see those worms. You can grab a hold of them. Sometimes you can get them out, but they're tough, they're fast, and you've got to really act quickly. It's a lot of fun, actually. And if you take the kids down here or people are walking by, they're like, what? There's worms here? In about a half hour, if you find a good nest of them, you can get 20, 30 worms. Now, the way to keep them for a few days is to keep them in a closed container like that in moist sand. Moist, okay? Not a whole lot of water, but moist sand. And they should live for 3, 4, 5 days and be really great bait. What do they work for? They work for yellowfin croaker. I've caught halibut on them. Spotfin croaker love to gobble those things up. Perch, just about everything you find here in the surf because they live here. They're part of the environment. The fish are used to seeing them. Some of the worms that get shipped in from the East Coast, surf fish here look at them and say like, what? What is that? Do I really want to eat that? I mean, I guess in human terms, it's like when you travel somewhere. Well, when I was in China and I'd go out in the street food and I'd look and say, what is that anyway? I wonder if I should eat that. Looks, I don't know. I'm not really sure. So you kind of get what I mean? I mean, fish are used to feeding on the stuff that surf is dredging up. When the surf crashes, there's sandworms, there's clams, there's mussels, there's all kinds of sand crabs. All of those creatures come to the surface, the surf fish feed on them. They're used to seeing sandworms. Take my word for it, it will change your surf fishing game. All right, good luck. Thanks again, everybody.